Hey, what up, guys? It's me again, and welcome to This Is My Moment podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Mitchell, and here at This Is My Moment, we have a good time. We laugh and we joke and we smile and we just enjoy the moment.
There ain't no stopping it. This is my moment. Join the movement. We bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better.
Today, I have a young lady with me, and I can't wait to hear what she got for me. Introduce yourself, ma'am.
Hello, I am Shelley Smartly, and I am creator, writer, and actor in the Smartly's comedy TV series. We've won over a dozen film awards in the last few months since we've been out. You can watch us for free on Tubi TV. And we're also available as an audio podcast. So we're literally airing worldwide now on about every venue that there is. And it's really exciting. We're in production of season 2 at the time.
Oh, congrats. That is huge. And we were talking off camera and about starting it and doing it. What exactly is a smart? What here, I put this as a note. The award-winning comedy, TV, radio, and podcast, Smartly's. What is it?
It is a comedy show, and the premise of it is that Eric and I win $300 million.
Woo!
We retire. Yeah, I know. It's pretty penny, isn't it? And we retire as king and queen of the Minnesota Renaissance Fair.
Okay.
We buy a luxury beachfront complex in La Jolla, which is on the shores in San Diego, California.
Yeah.
And our entire family lives there. And they're trying to get our money by hook or by crook. They don't care if they scam it out of us. They don't care if they have to kill us to get it. And so every day there are new, excitement in our house. And our show is frozen in time. We're planning 8 seasons of 8 shows each.
Oh, man.
And the entire season takes place on the same day. And every day, Eric and I are looking forward to celebrating our 50th anniversary the next day.
Oh,
so who knows if we're actually going to make it, since everybody's out to do us in.
Yeah. So you're at 49, 364. Wow. I love that. And I know we were talking earlier and about writing it yourself and finding your producer and stuff. What made you want to do something like that? What made you want to step into the comedy and the podcast and the radio? What made you want to do that?
Well, I have kind of a strange path towards it. I'm a 73-year-old disabled widow.
Oh, man.
And in the mid-90s, I was diagnosed with a terminal disease. And they said that I had 3 to 5 years left and there was no treatment and no cure.
Wow.
So after I put my affairs in order, which I recommend everybody in that position to do, it's like, okay, now what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And I thought what I wanted to do was help people who were in the same situation I was, to help them find the best diagnosis or medical care that we could, and to see if we could find, a way to find a cure or a treatment for the disease at least. And so I started a website. And from that website, it turned into an international nonprofit agency. It was called the International Scleroderma Network. And I ran that for several decades. We had thousands of pages in 23 languages and medical advisors from all around the world.
Wow.
And we published 3 books that was based on the stories that were on our website from the patients and caregivers and the medical experts. It was all very serious, as you can tell. And during that same time, my late husband was on oxygen for 10 years, and then he had a lung transplant. So 2 years after he had his lung transplant, we moved from Minnesota to beautiful California. And we were like little kids in a candy shop. It was just so wonderful. And it was so great to see him enjoying life again and feeling better. And 2 years after that, he passed away from leukemia. So I was in a new state. We were far away from our family and friends and everything else. And when he passed away, what I really felt was that I had to laugh. If I didn't laugh, that was going to be the end of me, and all of us have a different path towards healing.
Right.
And so what I did is probably not ever recommended in any books I've read, but as a new
Right.
widow, 2 weeks into it, I went to my first stand-up comedy show.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
absolutely loved it. I was able to laugh again. And there was the camaraderie and the good hormones from people laughing. It got me out of the house. It got me around people. So it helped prevent me from, becoming seriously depressed, which is, you can see the setup from several decades of that seriousness. I was really set up for disaster.
Man.
And so I loved it.
Yeah.
And just about every night of the week, I went off to a comedy show. I did that for 4 years.
Wow.
Well, in the meantime, I was seriously ill, very
Yes, ma'am.
seriously
Yes,
ill,
ma'am.
no joke. And I finally got completely properly diagnosed.
Right.
And with that came a treatment.
Okay.
Well, the treatment entailed a nurse following me around for 35 hours every week while I had an infusion.
Right.
So for 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, I had to have infusions while I'm running this nonprofit for people with a dread disease. And so in order to get, stay sane from that,
right.
I continued going to the comedy shows every night.
Oh, I see where this is going. I see where this is going.
And well, in the meantime, I'm basically, and you can kind of tell from my past work history, I'm basically an introvert.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so and so it was hard for me. I really admired the stand-up comedians and how they can take the tragedies of their life and convert them into something that people can laugh about.
Right, right.
You want some water?
Yes, please. I need some water. My throat's a little dry. So at one point, I had a friend who was also extremely introverted.
Yeah.
So introverted that she couldn't handle having more than 2 people in a car.
Oh, wow.
And so one night I took her to a ukulele session at one of the local restaurants, and everybody was sitting around and playing their ukuleles. And she just loved it. So afterwards, when we were in the car, I thought, I can make a very safe bet. She was after me to try stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I can't do that. I could never do that. Oh my God, I would rather die first. And I thought, okay, well, here's a for sure way to get her off my back.
Yeah.
I said, okay, if you buy a ukulele and play it in public, then I'll do stand up. And she said, you're on.
No way.
Yeah. And so this very extremely introverted friend of mine who couldn't stand having more than 2 people in a car goes out, buys a ukulele, plays it in public, and turns to me and says, okay, now, what about the stand-up?
Your turn.
Oh, no. You see, I can't do that. I'm too sick. I can't do that. Well, after a couple of years of treatment, I did feel better. And I realized I no longer really had the good excuse of illness. I still had my infusions, but I was feeling so much better.
Right.
And so I enrolled in a stand-up comedy class.
Watch out.
And about 4 months later, I was in my first real comedy show, the kind that people pay to go to. Eric Knowles was the headliner at that show.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Before you give me the rest of this, how did your friend and her ukulele turn out? Was she good or was she was all right?
She was all right. And she joined 3 different meetups.
Okay.
And to this day still plays the ukulele around town and really enjoys it.
Now here we go with this. Your first stand-up, how did you do?
I did absolutely fantastic. I mean, in my own opinion, it was a great show and people actually laughed.
Right.
And I walked out of there higher than a kite. It was I had faced such a major fear.
Right.
And I walked out of it alive.
Yes.
And the adrenaline rush from that is completely unbeatable.
Yeah, I agree. I do motivational speaking, And when I come from events, like it takes me hours to come down. Like I'm just so just like I'm all over the place and excited and my mind is racing a mile a minute. And I'm already trying to figure out more material, right? To keep it going, right? And it is an amazing feeling. And for people, some people don't have that. Some people get stuck in and don't they do what you did in the beginning, right? They don't change. It's just this. I'm gonna go and I'm great at this and I'm great at this. And listening to your story, you were great at it. So congratulations on being amazing first. But you figured out, you know what? I want to change. And a lot of people, I believe, are scared to change because they don't know what's going to come with that change. And you took a chance on yourself. And obviously, what, 11, 12 awards later? Like
well, yeah. Yeah, we've won over a dozen film awards in just the last few months, international film awards.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What makes you smile? So when you're in your zone, right, and you're coming up with these scenarios for the screens, what makes you smile? What puts that smile on your face, Miss Shelley?
Absolutely everything. I find the humor in the smallest things in life.
Right,
and yeah, I think that's where the real humor is in the real life scenes and in real life conflict. And comedy is a process of making benign violations.
Right,
they're
right.
benign, so they don't really hurt anybody.
Yeah.
But they still have to be. It has to be a violation of some sort in order to be funny.
Yeah, you're right. You gotta do that. I like that. I like that.
And so we have 3x5 cards all around the house. And every time we make a little quip, or if I wake up in the middle of the night and have an idea, either one of us, my partner Eric, will sit down and write out that thought right away, whatever it was. And we capture that. I throw them in a drawer, and eventually they become part of the script of the Smartleys.
Wow. I'm a fan of keeping, and a lot of people don't do it. I do pen and paper. So I keep a notepad by my bed, man. And I tell you what, my best ideas and my most motivational speaking engagement events have come when my mind is at rest and I'm not thinking about it. And all of a sudden I have this phenomenal idea and I reach over there to the side of my bed and I just go to work. It's 1, 2 in the morning. My wife is like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Idea. Don't mess with me right now. I'm working." And when I get up in the morning, it's no way that I could have remembered like exactly how it had played out when it first got it. And when I first got it, that's when it's the best. When I have to kind of rethink it, it waters it down a little bit. Does that happen to you sometime? Like,
yes, and I'll tell you one thing that I know about you.
What do you know
already?
What do you know?
You're a genius, and you know why?
I ain't even been called that before, but tell me.
Everybody has an abundance of ideas all the time.
Right.
We all do. We're humans. Our brain is always going. We have an abundance of ideas. But the genius is the person who immediately writes those ideas down.
I like that. Thank you.
So you are a genius.
I heard that, TMIM fam. I'm a genius. Thank you, Michelle.
You are certified.
Certified.
We should get you the certificate. Yeah, because there's very few people that actually bother to do that, or they think, "Oh, I'll remember it." And I never remember these great ideas.
Right?
I just don't. I can wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning thinking, "That was a great idea. I had at 2 o'clock. Now, what was it? It was hilarious."
Yeah. It nenever comes back to you. Yeah, right?
Never comes back. That's why we have pen and paper right next to the bed.
I love it.
Because it usually is 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when your brain is most at rest that it can wake you up with this great idea that you've suppressed during the day.
Yeah. So that means you're a genius also, right?
I am.
Oh,
yes. I think I'm certified.
Certified. You want me to get you the plaque too?
Yeah, we should both get a plaque. We should start a club for the people that write it down.
Yeah. I don't even think people use pen and paper no more, do they? Everybody's on their phone all the time now, huh?
I know. Yeah, but it's pen and paper for me, man.
Oh, me too. Same. Let me ask you this. So you're writing these episodes, right? And you have these 3x5 cards all over the house. What's your best episode you've ever written? Like your one go-to episode?
I absolutely love every episode of the Smartleys.
Okay.
And the 64th episode, we're going to do 8 seasons of 8 shows each. And our 64th episode, man, that's going to take the cake. That's going to take the prize of the whole series. So I'm really looking forward to that. But out of season 1, I think, as a writer, the story gradually and the characters gradually build up,
right,
so that you can have more and more fun with comedy.
Of course.
Because you continually create more conflict between them.
Right.
And so by the 7th and 8th show of season 1, I was really loving it. And season 2, we have that in production now, and I'm just so excited for people to see it. And I'm already a third of the way through writing season 3, and I can't wait for people to see that. It is just getting funnier and funnier.
I love it. And I can tell just by the way that your voice pitches when you're giving it to me that you're eating it up. I love it.
Maybe it's only funny to me, but who cares? I mean,
right? Hey.
As long as it's funny to somebody in the world, who cares?
One of us gonna laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me ask you this. So when you're writing these things, where's your happy place? Like when you're writing it and you're thinking, right? Where's your happy place? Where do you go to come up with this stuff?
It's just funny because once I start writing, I can see it like a movie in my mind.
Mm.
And it's like I just watch that movie and write down what's happening.
Yeah. You can see it playing out.
Yeah. And so I'd like to take a lot of credit for it, but I don't think I deserve any of it.
Yeah.
It feels like it comes from some other place, and it feels like I'm just being receptive rather than creative.
Right.
I feel more like I'm tuning into something than like I'm creating.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of creative people might feel that way.
Right. Yeah. I think I agree. Sometimes, like, my mind works so, it's almost like a deja vu, if that makes any sense. Like, I can see so vividly to where it's almost like I couldn't have lived this already. But I can remember and I can see it and I can write it down in such a way that it had to be almost like deja vu to me, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much. It's more like you're seeing something that's already been created.
Yes.
And just capturing it. Yeah.
Perfect. Let me ask you this though. So when you got diagnosed, right, and before you started your Smartleys and you got into this comedy, when you were on your bad day, right? When you were on your bad days, and everybody has them, that's not a secret. Everybody's going to have them. What did you do to bring the smile? Because I can't picture you like right there. Like, I haven't even asked my question and you're already, look at your shoulders, right? Like you're in it. Like your soul seems happy to me. When you were on your bad days, what brought this smile back to your face? Like what gave you laughter? What gave you joy?
Well, at one point in the mid 90s, I was bedridden and in a wheelchair for a year.
Man.
And I couldn't tolerate any lights or noise. I could tolerate maybe candlelight and writing by hand, but that was about all. I couldn't even handle a radio or a TV at all. It was just like me there in bed. Yeah. And I was so weak, I could hardly brush my teeth. Fortunately, that's been addressed. We found out the name of that disease now. But at the time, I didn't know it. And they said that there was no cure for me. And so it was like, well, I can just lay here in bed until I die. Well, one day I got bored enough with it where I thought, there has to be something more you can do, even if you're confined to bed.
Yeah.
And so I made a list of 100 things that I could do in bed.
Yeah.
And I could do my nails.
Right.
I could comb my hair.
Right.
I could call a friend or a relative and talk to them for a few minutes. And so what can I do? And, I knew all the things I couldn't do. Yeah. Like I could not live life the way it used to be. Yeah. And one of the things on my list was I could write a book.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, that's ridiculous, because at the same time, I was suffering a 35-point IQ loss.
Yeah.
And from illness. Mm-hmm. And so it had really affected my speech, and it had affected my spelling and my math as well. I had to learn math from scratch again.
Right.
And I thought, well, but writing a book, I could only really write at the 5th grade level. Mm-hmm. But the majority of romance novels are written at the 5th grade level.
Mm.
And although I couldn't spell very good anymore, and I used to be a really ace speller, I thought I could have somebody else correct my spelling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
And so I took lined paper, and by candlelight, I started writing a book.
Yeah.
And I wrote like a Harlequin romance novel, 50,000 words. And I, yeah. And I called it Struck by Lightning. It took a long time, but I really didn't have anything else in life to distract me or anything else to do.
Right.
Yeah. And after I got better, I put that book on the shelf. Okay. And this year, I drug that book back out off the shelf and dusted it off. And I gave it to our producer, Floyd Strayer, to read.
Yeah.
And he absolutely loves it. And we're in the process of developing a movie called Struck by Lightning.
Yes.
Based on the book that I wrote when I was bedridden and in a wheelchair.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Good for you. Way to change your negative into a positive.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I really feel strongly from what I've been through that all of our negatives are a blessing.
Yeah.
If we treat them as something that need to be overcome, if our attitude has to be bigger than our circumstances, and the bigger your problem, then the bigger your attitude has to be.
Ooh.
And so if you have a really, really, really big problem, you need to have a really, really, really great attitude.
Yes. Yes.
And so I don't see problems as being problems anymore. I see them more as being a real opportunity for personal growth.
All the time. All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I am a firm believer in not letting things stop me and not having roadblocks. I may have to slow down on the gas a little bit or push up a little bit, but I refuse to let anything stop me from going and being who I want to be or growing to the person that I think I should be. And listening to your story, you did the exact. You did not let the disease and being in the bed stop you from having that spirit of want. So that's that. And you know what's funny? A lot of times people lose that battle. A lot of times, like I've known people for a fact that once they got like bedridden, it was in. Like the next thing you know, they were probably in hospice. They were like in hospice because they didn't have the want to get out there and just take that negative and make it that positive, like you did, Miss Shelley. And man, that's a good deal.
Yeah, and it takes an awful lot of energy when you have none.
Yeah.
You know, I can't say that positive is an easy way to go, but I can say that it's happier than negative.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Good for you. I got one thing for you though. Do you have a quote when your times were tough, when your times are good, when you're feeling in that zone? Do you have a quote you go to?
I
Come on.
Well, I have a quote. I actually had to look it up and make sure that I hadn't taken it from anybody else. Because I mentioned it in another podcast and I thought, oh, what if I'm quoting somebody and I don't know it? Yeah. But what I tell myself, because, you know, I still, of course, deal with a lot of pain and fatigue and you know, different things. So I tell myself, do what you can see. You know, if you can only see a tiny thing, if you can only see yourself walking to the mailbox, walk to the mailbox. If you can only see yourself washing the dishes, wash the dishes. Wow. If you can see yourself writing one joke, then write that one joke. You don't have to think about the entire season of a TV series. You don't have to know everything in order to do anything.
Do what you can see.
Do what you can see. And I think that we're all given little tiny visions all the time of something that we can do.
Right. Wow.
But when we're not up to it, just do that one immediate thing in front of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't let yourself be overwhelmed by it. And I think maybe that helped me deal with the overwhelm. You know, when you're fatigued, you feel like you can't handle anything.
Yeah. Right.
And, you know, or if you're overworked or overtired, just do what you can see and don't worry about the rest.
I like that. And, you know, I talked about people always wanting to go from 0 to 100, right? And I tell people all the time, like 0 to 1 is okay too. 0 to 1
Yeah.
is still growth and movement forward in your life. So and that's what do what you can see sounds like to me. It's not worrying about getting to 100. Take the 1.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what
Just
is in that
be happy
1?
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be happy with that one little thing. Get on with it and do that one little thing, because those one little things, I created and wrote and acted in the entire season 1 of the Smartlies.
Right.
But that did not happen all at once. It was a series of small little things that I did for 5 minutes that added up to that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to do 99%
Right.
of, I had no background or education in television production.
Right. Right.
And I had to learn everything along the way. And I did.
Right.
You don't have to know everything before you tackle it.
I agree. Sometimes you just gotta jump in there.
Right. I mean, you created your own business and your motivational speaking.
Right.
Did you do it overnight?
No, it's still a work in progress.
Yeah.
But you know what I am doing? I'm enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying learning these things. I'm enjoying meeting people like yourself and growing my knowledge base, helping me move forward, helping This Is My Moment move forward, along with being everything that I want to be and taking my one step and enjoying my one step and then making that one step another step. So now I got 2 steps, right? That's how I get to 100. I don't have to go straight from 0 to 100. I'm going to enjoy, Miss Shelley, my 1. And then I'm gonna make another one. Yeah.
And I think that's extremely important. And I think that we're kind of given the idea that things just happen overnight,
Right.
And people are an overnight success. And I would say that everybody who's an overnight success would really say, hey, you didn't see the years and years and years and the 5 minutes at a time that I put into this project.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't see the grind before that.
Yeah. Welcome to the grind.
Welcome.
And you better enjoy it, because it's going to be more grind than anything else.
You better believe it. So you had the questions. Miss Ashley, she sent you the questions. So you got a chance to look at them. I don't know if you looked at my podcast, but at the end of every podcast, I give 3 questions. It's a game I like to play called Question and Answer. So it's a game. I give you 2 choices. You have to pick one. And then I give you a phrase. So this is the genuineness of This Is My Moment. So you don't know the answer. I'm not going to throw you under the bus, nothing like that. I'm going to have a good time. But I want you to think.
Oh, yeah.
You ready?
Okay.
All right. Stand up or TV? Which one do you choose?
TV.
Over stand up?
Yep. But there's a very practical reason for it.
Tell me why.
And that is before the pandemic, we were creating the Smartlies on stage, filming in front of a live audience in a senior center.
Right.
And that's how we created our original pilot. Well, when the pandemic hit, there was no way that we could do that, any of it. Right. So I had to throw everything out and rewrite the entire season 1 from scratch to accommodate for actors being able to self-film in their own homes. And then we combined the performances digitally.
Wow.
So we had to figure all of that out from scratch. And because of that, all of our actors were able to make it safely through the pandemic and still be performing. We created an entire TV show series at the height of the pandemic.
Wow.
And so I would say from that, it's such a blessing to be able to see our entire cast be able to enjoy the fruits of that, and not just me individually.
Yeah.
So I would say TV. And with stand-up, people can only see me at their performance or that place that I'm in when I was doing stand-up, which I can't anymore because of my autoimmune disease. But with the TV show, people can literally see and or listen to us all around the world. And so it's so exciting to see viewers from all these strange countries that I've hardly known the name of.
Right.
And to be able to see that they're laughing with us. And my mission is to spread joy throughout the world.
Same.
in gratitude for blood donors who have extended my life and that of those I love. And so it's very heartwarming for me to see that we're literally spreading joy throughout the world.
I love it. I love it. Second one. So I know that you write comedy, you tell jokes.
Mm-hmm.
You have one chance to save the world, one joke. What's your go-to joke that you're going to put the world on your back? What's your joke? Do you have your best? I want your best.
Oh no, I don't have a best. I have a gradual build up that builds up to the big punch. But I would say, I think that your listeners should know.
Go ahead.
That now I'm facing my fears head on.
Okay.
Because when I tried backing into them,
yeah,
they canceled my car insurance.
But I got you. I love it. I love it. Last one. When I say the phrase, "This is my moment," what's the first thing that comes to your mind? This is my moment.
What comes to your mind?
Happiness. Grabbing every single day and making the most of it. That's my moment. Every single day I wake up, I want to be somebody someone can look up to and be like, you know what? Yes, I can. That's what this is.
Well, I see that you already are. You're an inspiration to me.
I appreciate that.
And we already proved that you're a genius on top of it all.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're done.
Thank you.
You did.
It's been an honor and a blessing to be here.
You did phenomenal. I love your story, and I'm going to actually, I don't know how my wife's going to feel about it, but I'm gonna bring up the show on the podcast or on the smart TV we got or whatever, and I'm gonna take a look at it while I'm eating dinner. So I'm gonna eat dinner and check you guys out. And I have actually
laugh along with us, laugh at us. We don't care as long as you get your laugh on.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for joining me. It was a pleasure. Hey guys, find your happy place. Find something that makes you happy. Find something that makes you want to get out the bed. Find something that makes you add longevity to your life. And you be that, own that, go get that. Let's go get it.
There ain't no stopping it, this is my moment. Join the movement, we bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better.